Today we're going to cover the InstaLink flash updater software from Cimble. To get the software, you need to go to www.cimble.com. Under the support tab at the top, there'll be a dealers and installers tab. You click the dealers and installers tab, and on that screen will be the InstaLink flash update program. If you have problems finding the program, please call us at 936-334-9700. When you receive your device, it's going to look like this. It'll be in a green case. There are some things on here that I want to point out. First off, on top of the board is a USB connector, a GPS antenna, and a cellular antenna, and a power connector. So the first thing that we're going to do is a regular standard USB cable with the regular mini USB end on it. Plugs into the board, and the board then connects to, in this case, bench power. You see the little red diode flash, that means that it connected to power. And if you're in the vehicle, you can connect this to the OBD2 port and connect the 20-pin connector that's on the power cable. It's the same thing. Connect that to the device. The USB then goes to your laptop or whatever, as long as you have internet access. You've got to have internet access to program this device. So that's why I recommend doing it on the bench, where you're inside and have to control power. So that's that simple. You plug the USB in, you plug the power in, and then in a few minutes I'm going to tell you at what point, when I'm going through the software, to plug in the USB to your PC. Okay? See you on the other side. Hi, welcome back. Just to recap a little bit, I'm going to take you to this InstaLink program here on Cimble.com so you can see it. It's right here, and you just click this little icon here and you can download it to your computer and open it as I'm going to show you here in just a few minutes. So you click this link, it will update, it will open the program, and you will get this screen. And so what I want to do here is take a moment to tell you where you're going to find the device ID information. It will be either located underneath the lid of the little green case that your device came in, or it will be underneath the lid of the white box that you have all of your wiring harness information and all that stuff in. So either place you can find the device ID. You'll need that number. Each device is unique, has all of its own information stored on the server, and we keep track of it by that number, and obviously customers use that number as well. So your device ID will go in the slot here for device ID. I'm assuming that everyone's opened up their software now and is ready to follow along. So you put your number in. I'm going to put my number in, and we are going to click submit, and we've now opened the second page that's allowed you to enter into the system. The information that you see in the blank was the last information that was programmed into this particular unit, particular device. So in the case for today, we're going to reflash this device. We're going to change it to a Chrysler Town and Country 2012. The version, as long as you get these three tabs set correctly, the version should always automatically set itself. There will be times when tech support may ask you to change to one of these other versions and force a change. That's the only reason this tab is available. In most cases, you should not use it at all, mess with it at all. The second thing is the push button or a smart key. On vehicles that have a regular key, you use this setting. A lot of the General Motors, Hyundais, Hondas, all kinds of things have straight keys. Some vehicles only have push buttons like Nissans, and in this case the smart key for Chrysler, the little teardrop oblong key with the square end on it, is considered to be a smart key. The remote start can be set at none, factory installed, Cimble remote start, or Cimble diesel remote start. It depends on what we're going to do with this device. In some cases, we don't support the remote start and there's not one on the vehicle, but they want to use this product for all the GPS tracking capabilities and locks and unlocks and many other things that are available, just even though there's no remote start information available yet for that particular model. So the product can be used on all kinds of different vehicles. It's not just limited to the few that we do remote start on. All you need to do is just select none in this blank, and that will turn that code off in the software. If it has a factory installed remote start, then click this one. That way we know to use all of the safety features that are available with the factory installed remote start, and we basically just control that remote start with our phone apps and with the key fob. We actually can then utilize our system to count the presses on the key fob and activate the remote start. And in most cases, and in the default position, the Cimble remote start will be the one that's a van with sliding doors and a lift gate, and let's just leave it blue. So once we've put all of this information in and confirmed that it's all correct, you hit submit, and you'll see the little box popped up at the bottom there that is verifying the vehicle identification information. Now that little USB cable that I showed you earlier in the video, that's now connected to the device, and the device is powered up, and we are waiting to connect that USB cable to the computer. You can go ahead and plug it in now, and as it's verifying this vehicle ID information, and as soon as it's finished, it's going to download the firmware, which it's doing now. Give it just a minute, and as soon as it does complete the download process, it will then begin to flash the memory automatically. So now we progress to the device prep screen, and the InstaLink updater is loading the firmware into the device processor. Okay, so the flash process is completed. We can now do one of two things. We can go back to the prep new vehicle stage, which will take you back to the beginning, and you can go through this whole process, or we can go to the device test screen. This is where we basically look at the condition of the firmware, the radio, and the GPS that you just installed into this device. Typically, you can restart it all and just make sure that it's all running by clicking the restart button. A green firmware button, firmware like this, means that the code in the CPU is running nominally as it should. A yellow GPS means that the GPS has come on, although it has not attached to the network. A yellow radio means that it has connected now to the GSM network, and it will turn green when it connects to the GPRS side of the network. There it is. Now the radio is connected. It's happy. The GPS probably will not progress past this state because we're inside, and it can't get a full 3D fix, although it surprised me on the desk yesterday and actually got one, and I'm sitting behind metal filmed windows and all kinds of things. So this GPS on this board is pretty amazing. To test the device, you can use any of these buttons on this side, and I'm going to move my tab over so that I can show you the little button here at the bottom. So Now is the place where we want to train the remote start with the information that it needs to correctly do it for this particular vehicle. So what we want to do is make sure the hood and the trunk, all of the doors except the driver's door, are closed and secured. Then we want to turn the ignition switch on, fully on to ignition, and without starting the vehicle, and off twice, on and off, on and off. Then on the third time, I want you to go ahead and start the vehicle. On the third, ignition on, crank the car, let it run for about 3 seconds, shut it off. Then close the door, and then use the key fob and lock and unlock the door twice. Then open and close the driver's door twice. What you've done is just given the vehicle all of the door statuses, all the lock statuses, all the codes necessary to bypass the immobilizer, and it should be now programmed to function with this vehicle, including it just read the vehicle identification number and code information from the computer and pass all that information back to the Secure Connect servers. So in a real situation, the one that I have running here on the bench is just running without being connected to a car. So I don't have any odometer information or fuel information or actually door status or alarm status, any of this information. But when you're connected to the car and running this program, all of this information will populate and be accurate. And you can then test it by either pushing the engine start button or the door locks or any of these buttons, or you can test it by pressing the key fob 4 times. Lock, 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 lock. Within 5 seconds. That should also engage the remote start. So this product will function as a remote start with or without the wireless services, using the phone, simply by using the factory key fob and pressing lock 4 times real quickly. There is the 4th screen here. I want to talk to you about this one just a little bit. This one is more for troubleshooting and for tech support. So if you have a problem with the device, installing it, and we can't figure out what's going on, we may send you some special firmware, and we will, one of our tech support guys will want you to use the capture or snapshot function of this software. So what this does is it lets you start and stop the device right there. So I just restarted this device. You'll notice that we've initialized the radio and the connections to the car, and now it's all starting up. It'll take it a few minutes. The green is the CPU, the blue is the radio commands going out to the radio. The red commands are answers from the radio. And if you notice, the radio is now just connected to the network right here. That's what this TCP listening means. Whenever this occurs, when you see this come up on the software, if you notice the device, the red diode will be flashing every second. And that tells you that we are now ready to connect to the server and send a message. I just sent a WIR message, which is what we call a locate message, and you see the data that went back to the server. So this is how the InstaLink Flash Updater program works. I'm going to recap for you one more time real quickly here, just so that we get everybody understands what's going on. If you notice right up here at the top of the program, it says InstaLink can retrieve vehicle information from previously registered devices. What that means is that we maintain a record of everything that happens from this device from the cradle to the grave. So even your programming, anything that you do with this device at this level all the way to the point in time where the end consumer 10 years from now trashes this car and they crush it, we want to know everything that happened to it from the cradle to its grave. And so this allows us to do that. So you will need your device ID, as we've talked about at the beginning. It'll be on the top of the box or inside the lid of the device. You will need the information, the vehicle information, that you are about to program this device to fit. It is very important that you pay attention to the keys and to how you want to set up the remote start and to what that vehicle is. And once you've submitted this button and you've plugged in the USB cable at this point, and if you don't, the software will remind you when it gets to the point in the downloading the software that you need to plug in the USB. It will take you to the device prep screen automatically. Once you get past the device prep screen, then we get over here to the device test screen. If that learn process that we discussed a few minutes ago goes awry and the vehicle does not remote start on the first try, there's a button down here at the bottom of these test commands that says reset engine start codes. If you press that button, you will have to relearn this device, which means all the ignition on and offs, all the lock and unlocks, and all the door opens. That makes, you have to, every time you program one of these, you have to set those commands up and do those functions so that the vehicle actually outputs the data so the device can set itself up, including the VIN number. And again, the troubleshooting screen is mostly for tech support. I will caution you on a couple of other things here at the end, just so that you hopefully remember them, and you might write these down. It says it in our install guides, but a lot of people read over them, even though it's in big letters. If you have a wireless proximity key fob, a lot of the new vehicles today have proximity fobs. So when the owner walks up to the car, they can just leave the fob in their pocket and they touch the door and it unlocks and goes in. Those fobs will, in a lot of cases, cause the remote start sequence to abort in this product because we sense that the doors have been opened. So whenever you are testing this product, you need to keep those kind of fobs at least 15 feet away from the vehicle for all of these functions to work properly. It's made for the owner to be away from the car, not standing there next to it with the key fob. And that, it's only for the proximity fobs. But just an FYI, if you run into that problem, it could cause an issue in your install.